Ladies and gentlemen, Don Lemon is past his prime time. Please welcome Town Hall senior columnist Kurt Schlichter, founder and president of Media Research Center L. Brent Bozell III, creator of Libs of TikTok Chaya Raichik, and your moderator, the host of O'Connor and Company and O'Connor Tonight, Larry O'Connor.
All right.
Can we sit down? Can we sit down?
Now, they're not giving us nearly enough time to talk about the media, so let's get right to it. I think it's great that this is named after Don Lemon, because we happen to have somebody on this panel, Kurt Schlichter, my friend from Town Hall, who has a very important historic distinction. He was kicked off and banned from the Don Lemon show. I forget, what did you say again?
Well, so I'm on the show, and he says, so this is when we run up to Trump, and he says, you know, Kurt, this is terrible. This is the worst thing ever. Do you know what Donald Trump said? And I'm like, I don't know. And he says, he said that Hillary got schlonged when she was running against Barack Obama. And that's the worst thing ever.
That was a good one.
And I said, I don't care. Hillary Clinton, I mean, you care about that. Hillary Clinton literally stood by while her husband used an intern as a humidor.
Oh, yes.
And you can't say that. So I said, she sat there and literally stood by as her husband used an intern as a humidor and boot off of CNN. Best thing that ever happened to me.
So that's... Kurt Schlichter is not Don Lemon material. Which I guess is a good thing.
Well.
And meanwhile, talking about canceling people and the media, attacking individuals, Chaya, what a hero. The incredible, courageous creator of Libs of TikTok, where you dared to actually let them use their own words without any commentary to say, hey, look what they said. And even today, you got attacked for sitting on this stage.
Yeah, so yesterday, Vice put out this insane hit piece on me. I mean, I think they thought it was a hit piece. To me, it looked like a very impressive resume. And a huge part of it, and in their captions on Twitter and in the article, they were so mad that I'm at CPAC today. So it's especially great to be here because those who've been following me for a while probably know by now, there's nothing I love more than to mock and clown the liberal media. They deserve every bit of it. So it's really great to be here.
As my friend and mentor, Andrew Breitbart, may he rest in peace, 11 years ago yesterday, he left us. He would say about Chaya, he would say, she pisses off all the right people.
Yeah. Hopefully the folks over at Vice can survive till the end of this panel and the fact that I'm sitting up here right now.
Yeah.
Sending them prayers.
So Brent, I mean, you started Media Research Center in 1987. In a weird way, it was sort of what Chaya does now with Libs of TikTok. All you did was, and you still do brilliantly at Media Research Center, is just make a record of everything that's said in the media and then repeat it so everybody can see what they're saying so we can all see exactly what they're doing. But back then it was a quaint notion of media bias. I think we've come a long way from just media bias, haven't we?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say I identify as he, we, and if I ever transition, I want to be Chaya. So,
hold on a second. I'm sorry. I lost the bet on that one. I apologize.
What?
I thought something else was going on there with the transitioning, Brent, and I...
no.
Could you just explain what just happened there?
Well, I bet Kurt that he identifies as a they. I'll tell you later.
Here's the reality. You know, when we started in 1987, we went after this thing called liberal media bias. It doesn't exist anymore. We're not talking about a liberal media. You're talking about a media that could care less about the news. They don't report the news. They're weaponized. They're Marxist. Many of them are Marxist. They are projecting the far, far left in America. Now, if you want to do that as an opinion writer, well, go ahead. But for them then to say that they are CNN, that they are CBS News, NBC News, ABC News, that's an insult to America to do this. I do find them insulting. I also find them idiotic because look. There's a leak. Something happens where a virus comes out and kills half of humanity or whatever, and it comes and there's a lab in Wuhan, and Donald Trump says, "Well, I think there was a leak in that lab." No, you don't, and that's racist. Yeah. Come on, folks. It was so obvious all along where it came from. So now all of them are saying, "Well, I guess it's true. Yeah, I guess we should have reported on Hunter Biden. Yeah, I guess we should have covered 1,001 Biden scandals." But no, they don't want to do it.
Well, and what you've done at Media Research Center in the last just 5 years is shift much of your focus on big tech. I mean, now, thank God Elon Musk bought Twitter, because he was able to expose to the world what we all saw in plain sight, what was going on there. The Silicon Valley media bias, the use of big tech as a weapon to silence and censor us, and yes, we're going to get to you in a minute, it's, again, 100 times worse than what it was.
Far more serious, because what you have, you're going beyond the bias. What they are doing now is censoring speech, not just in the United States, worldwide. Worldwide, you're being told, if you want to talk to 2 billion people on Facebook, you must talk this way. If you want to be on YouTube with a video, you must do it this way. If you can't do it, we won't allow you to communicate with your fellow man. In the history of man, we've never seen this. And this is what happens to you and to you and to you, and the attacks that come on you. And you try to defend yourself, and boom, you're taken off.
And one of the great things that they're doing at Media Research Center right now in terms of focusing on what's going on in big tech is they constantly repeat a very important thing that you all need to hear, digest, and make this part of your DNA when you talk about censorship. When Donald Trump is removed from Twitter, yeah, it's terrible, it's awful for him, but it's really an attack on you, because his right to free speech means you have the right to hear what he has to say. And they're getting in the way of your right to hear, not just his right to speak.
Absolutely.
And that is a terrifying notion in a constitutional republic. Long may she wave. All right, so let's talk, Chaya.
Yeah.
Because I want to know.
Do you want to leave?
Yeah, you guys, talk amongst yourself. What came over you sitting there watching all of these videos on TikTok? What made you think, you know what? I'm just going to grab some of these videos and put it out there and let people see what's happening over here. Because it was brilliant. Yeah. And it was just such a simple notion.
I think it was just how outrageous it all was, and the fact that they were so proud of it. So you have these teachers, these kindergarten teachers, and they're actually really, really proud that they are talking to kindergarteners about, do I have to censor myself?
I mean,
they're really, really inappropriate things. I'm not going to say.
Things of a sexual nature.
Yeah.
Things of a really complicated and confusing gender issues.
Yeah, and they're proud of it. That's the craziest part. So I'm seeing all this content. It's so bizarre. It's so outrageous. And I'm like, the public needs to know about this.
How many Twitter followers did you have when you started that?
0.
How many do you have right now?
1.9 million.
Oh!
Thank you.
What was your formal media training? Like, did you go to journalism school? Did you go to some kind of technical school to learn how to fix the algorithm?
I have no background in media, no background in journalism, no background in politics, and anything like that.
You're just a woman who saw things.
I'm just a woman who saw a problem and decided to help and do something about it. And for my efforts, I was persecuted by Twitter. And I think I might hold the record for most temporary Twitter suspensions. And then when the Twitter files came out, which we all, most of you probably heard about those, Libs of TikTok was mentioned in the Twitter files. And basically the employees were saying, she's not violating the rules, but we need to suspend her because I'm threatening their narrative.
Right.
And so they ended up suspending me for something called an indirect violation. I don't know what that means. You either violate the rules or you don't. But there's this indirect violation, which is similar to what they used to censor President Trump.
Yeah.
And that's how they got me. They kept suspending me. And then when the Twitter files came out and I saw that, it was just so validating, because I'm like, I know I'm not breaking the rules. I'm literally just sharing them in their own words, and they just can't handle it.
But Chaya, you were Libs of TikTok. You weren't Chaya. It was an anonymous account. You could have been a man. You could have been a 90-year-old woman. You could have been a 12-year-old boy in his parents' basement. You were anonymous.
My transitioning would be all confused at that point.
I lost another 20.
You can be anything you want to be, Larry.
The point is, you didn't want people to know your name. You wanted to stay anonymous. You didn't want to be on the stage at CPAC. You got personally, they wanted to go after you and hurt you as an individual. How did that happen?
Well, that's the thing with the leftist media, is that the weapon that they use to silence their opponents or critics, one of their strongest weapons is name-calling, insulting, bullying, using slurs. I mean, we see this all the time in the media, and I've been called every single slur in the book. They even made up a new slur just for me, called stochastic terrorist. So I'm still not sure what it means, but anyways, when that doesn't work, when they saw that they can't silence me like that, they actually showed up to my house to dox me, to try to scare me and intimidate me into silence.
They was the Washington Post.
Yeah, Taylor Lorenz, also
Taylor
known as
Lorenz,
TJ.
Washington Post. More investigators investigating who's behind the Libs of TikTok account than the Washington Post put on the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Yes.
And they wanted to scare you, they wanted to intimidate you, and here you are.
Exactly.
And here she is. Didn't work.
Thank you.
So, Kurt Schlichter, not only are you a brilliant columnist and a great broadcaster, you're also a trial attorney in Los Angeles.
Yep.
And you're also a retired colonel from the United States Army.
I am. Oh, please. Come on, colonels don't do anything.
In other words, you know what an adversary looks like.
Oh, I know what, I identify the opponent, I identify the enemy, and that's what the media is. I remember being in the Gulf War. That was back when America won wars, and the Pentagon knew which bathroom to use. I remember we're out in the middle of the desert. Sergeant comes up to me and goes, sir, if we have any reporters around, can I shoot them? And of course, I was a good officer. I always listen to my NCOs. But no,
You're not advocating that anybody would.
No. I would never advocate hunting the media for sport.
There's already an article, breaking, Kurt.
Yeah, exactly.
Breaking,
There's
Kurt
your headline.
threatens 30 years ago. One thing that we have to understand is these people, the media today is not these hard scrabble blue-collar guys out there, hassling dudes with monocles and top hats. They're on the side of the guys with the monocles and the top hats.
Yeah.
All right, they all come from the same colleges. They all have the same life experience. They grew up in a Connecticut suburb, and they introduce themselves with pronouns. But we have to understand how deeply unimpressive these people are. They are not smart. They're not capable. I'll throw you a military thing out. I go nuts watching Ukraine coverage, and they say, another Ukrainian tank is destroyed. And I'm like, it's not a tank. It's an armored personnel carrier. Now, that may not sound like an important distinction, but it is a distinction, and it is important because tanks and APCs do different things. They don't know anything. They're not good at their job. They're dumb, unimpressive people who get off hassling people who make a difference, like Kaya.
It's a good time for us to wave at our friends in the media box in the back. I hope you're getting all of this. So when they are an adversary, they don't have our interests, certainly, in mind. They want to win. They are a weapon,
Yes.
Mr. Bozell, and they are used very effectively by the left because they know that the deck is stacked against us. How is conservative media doing right now?
Well, I think it's doing well. If you want to look at the power of the left-wing media, all you have to do is envision a world without them. What would be the world if the left wasn't using the media, if the media were reporting the news objectively, were attempting to report it objectively? Nothing that's happening today in this country would be happening. Nothing would be happening. Do you think, well, I want to show hands of anyone who thinks that CPAC is going to be reported fairly. We all know it's not going to be if it's reported at all.
No hands.
This is the way of the media today. We're in the information age. And what we have to be is storytellers. I tell every single one of you, don't assume people know what you know. Look at the survey that we took after the election, where we asked Democratic Biden voters in all the battleground states, did you know about the Hunter Biden laptop? Well, of course we all say, well, of course they knew. Did you know that 54% of Biden's voters didn't know about Hunter Biden? And then when we told them about it, and we asked, would you have voted for Biden, 9.4% said they would not have. Put that across the board, Donald Trump would have won Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, 317 electoral votes, a landslide. Can I say the media caused it? So my answer to you is we all have to be storytellers. We all have to tell our neighbor that which we know, because our neighbor is not getting it if our neighbor's watching NBC News.
Larry,
yes.
Larry, our friend Andrew Breitbart, it's so true. You are the storytellers. I remember before I started writing for Andrew, I was going back and forth with him about Mexican food and alternative music, two of our passions. And I came across a story that I thought was interesting. I said, hey, you might want to have somebody write about this. He says, you do it. So I did, and then he sent me a writer's packet, and I never stopped. You are the storytellers, Brent's absolutely right. It's up to you to utilize social media and all your other outlets to get the news out there. And of course, you are the poster lady for it, Kaya.
That's right.
Exactly.
Well, exactly. You're all there, oh, but I'm just one voice and I only have my little Facebook page. And once again, I'm sorry. How many Twitter followers do you have now?
1.9 million.
1.9 million.
Yeah, Don Lemon maybe has 300,000 viewers a night.
You want to know why they really hate you?
Every single one of my tweets gets more views than CNN.
Well, to be fair, that's a low bar. So I didn't mean to rudely, I'm not like searching my phone. I did this on purpose. I wanted to see Maggie Haberman of the New York Times. Good old Maggie Haberman, New York Times, right? She's the grande dame of political reporters for the New York Times. 1.6 million Twitter followers. Oh.
In how many years?
Oh, I think she's been doing this for 75 years. She started when she was 40.
Well, here.
This is why they hate you.
Exactly.
Because they are jealous of you.
They're very jealous.
They're incredibly jealous because you have an
is,
impact.
They lost all their credibility, so nobody reads it anymore. Nobody's interested in the mainstream media, and people are turning to independent journalists like myself and others.
Yeah. So, Brent, again, as an observer of the media for these many years, maybe 35 years now?
Going on our 36th, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Media Research Center. I'd love for you to sort of, in an objective way, talk about the impact that this woman has had on the national conversation right now when you look at Governor Glenn Youngkin winning in Virginia, a state that we were told, yeah, baby. We were told that was a blue state now. Mm-hmm. Republican can't win again. What was the major issue? Whether parents should have a seat at the table to talk about how our children are being taught by the teachers that this woman highlighted on her account. Mm-hmm. And now you go to any school board meeting right now, look at what Congress is focusing on, and it's all about the teachers and their impact and gender issues and sexual issues with children. That's you. That's what you did by showing what they did.
Look, the Loudoun County story is a perfect example of this. The story was that because of the policies that were put in by the radical teachers unions, boys could go into the girls' bathroom. A boy dressed as a girl went into a girls' bathroom, raped a 14-year-old girl, was transferred to another school and attacked another girl. That's the story. And the father protested that he was kept in the dark, and they pressed charges, or they threw him out. Now, reporters doing their jobs in Washington, D.C., just a few miles away, could have sent a camera crew and covered it. They knew that story was there. They deliberately chose not to tell the story because it destroyed the whole narrative of what they're trying to do in the school system. But what happened? Some people had phones, and they had cameras, and they went in there, and they talked about it, and they tweeted it, and they did YouTube, and they did Facebook. Some of them got censored, but eventually their story got out. Yep. And it's because of that someone said to Glenn Youngkin, look what's happening. Something big is happening. He rushed right into the breach. He adopted that issue. He's now the governor of the state of Virginia.
And And by the way, in his first year and a half as governor, he's actually following through.
Yes.
Imagine that, a Republican politician following through on what he said he would do. Andrew Breitbart said it back in 2010. In your pocket right now, you have the equivalent of a television studio from the late 1980s.
Yep.
You have the kind of video editing and distribution power that a cable news network in the 90s would be envious of. And 1.9 million people waiting to see your video.
Exactly. I think it just shows the power of the individual because someone like me with no background or experience in any of this, and I had no network, I had no connections, nothing, and I just started it and grew to what it is and had such an impact. So it's not just me. Every single person in this room could do the same thing. And every single person should stand up. If you see something, you should say something. And it's so easy now with social media because you are basically a reporter just by having a cell phone and a Twitter account or an Instagram account.
And that's how you beat the media bias. I mean, I know this panel was going to be a lot of discussion about how bad they are, and we could do that all day. But how about spend a little time about how we beat them? How we can fix it, how we can reverse it.
But very quickly, about you and about you and about you as well. What they hate about you, and I know this from the experience that I've got from 36 years, what they hate about you is that you have the audacity to challenge them.
Yep.
This is the most arrogant institution, besides Hollywood. It's the second most arrogant institution in America. These people who went from college to J school to a job in the networks, never held a real job, have no idea what the real world, have never visited, Idaho, have never seen the world, never talked to any one of you because, you guys are retreads, are intellectual retreads. But then along, you guys come and you speak out and you speak your mind and it goes against their narrative. They despise you personally for it.
They want to be gatekeepers. That's why they went to journalism school. Also the fact that they're too dumb to do anything else. They want to be gatekeepers. They want to set the agenda. And we're messing with them. Don Lemon can't shut me up about Hillary Clinton empowering her pervert husband to use interns like a humidor. He could throw me off his network. I can talk to more people on my Twitter account than will watch Don Lemon tomorrow.
Well, and that's why,
significantly more.
And let's bring it back to Don Lemon really fast because this supposed career-ending mistake that he made, saying that Nikki Haley was past her prime, it is really my favorite video ever because of the hands on the hips. He's just so right about that.
And then he said to Google it, and that's what Google said.
Yes.
Google actually said the exact opposite.
Right.
That was the funniest part.
But the real story here is that he only did that because he was so craven in his desire to find something to criticize a Republican woman who was running for president. He had to say something. He had to attack her, Brent, because...
If you were employed by CNN, God help us, but if you were, and you made that statement, you wouldn't have finished the sentence before you were fired. Absolutely fact. It would have happened to any conservative. But Don Lemon, well, I don't know. Let's explain him. Let's punish him a little bit. They're scared to death of firing Don Lemon. Yeah. If they believed in market economics, by the way, they would fire everybody on CNN.
Brent, if they believed in market economics, you and I would have a show. Yep. Now, I'm very expensive. They'd have to pay me a lot to sully my good name with CNN until we brought it back. But, I mean, that's the thing, Larry. They could be successful. They choose not to because it's more important to pursue their bizarre, creepy, un-American agenda.
That's right. And I'll give you an example of this. Several years ago, there was a president named on CNN, and I called him, and I knew him, and I said, look, I'm going to tell you how to become the #1 network in America today. And I told him, all you have to do is let Rush Limbaugh have a show.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And he said, well, do you have any other ideas? I mean, they would never countenance something like that.
How much do you love Chaya and what she did with Libs of TikTok?
Thank you. Thank you.
So here's what you need to know. Nobody makes money with a Twitter account. She's been able to change this country and change the conversation in this nation because of what she was able to do. They tried to destroy her. Chaya is now the author of a brand new children's book.
Yes.
What is it called?
It's called No More Secrets.
No More Secrets.
And
is
it
the name of the
basically
book.
is a tool for parents and kids so that children can be able to spot predatory behavior from trusted adults. So you can find it on lottbook.com or Amazon.
So we agree that we love what she's done for us, right? And you're probably thinking, how can I help her? The name of her book is No More Secrets. It's a children's book. And I know you all know children and parents in your lives. The name of her book is No More Secrets. What's the name of her book?
No More Secrets.
Buy a copy. Also, I would be remiss sitting next to somebody with 1.9 million Twitter followers if I didn't ask her to take a selfie with all of you in it. So let's do it. Come on, come on. Come on, guys.
Do you have your phone?
All right.
Here, we could use mine.
All right, use yours.
Here, you do it.
All right, I got longer arms. Are you ready? Everybody wave. Oh, wait.
Shoot. They're going to come kick us off stage any second.
Well
Ready?
done.
1, 2, 3. Oh, you're all going viral. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.